Hi everyone, this is Isabel, and this is my forensic argument speech about prevention of misuse and death when taught about guns at an early age. Countless kids and teens across the world and the United States die every year from gun deaths and gunplay and misuse. Guns can be very deadly, and accidents can happen without warning. Safety, respect, and correct handling all need to be addressed when someone owns a gun, purchases one, especially when they have kids within the household that they are storing the guns. It is important that we educate kids starting at a young age about guns to prevent unnecessary deaths and for better uses in the future. Now, in the New England Journal of Medicine, it is shown that in 2010, gun related injuries accounted for 6,570 deaths of U.S. children and young people, twice as many deaths as cancer. Child and young adult deaths in general are horrific and very tragic and can be very injuring to communities, family life, and people that know a kid very close. And we always want to get statistics like these down across the board. And we can do this by following a bunch of different steps. For first, school age children often enter the worlds created by television, shows, movies, and video games. Because of their developmental age, school age children don't necessarily understand that people who really shot may really die. Now, kids have a very heightened sense of curiosity at young ages, and sometimes what they see is what they believe. When they see their favorite character or favorite actors using guns within the movies, they think it's really cool and that they want to do it the same and show their friends that they're just as cool. So that's when misuse happens. Kids bring guns to school, kids get hurt when they try to show others guns or when they find a gun and they think it's cool to keep it, not realizing the consequences. So, first, observing a kid's curiosity and making sure that they understand what's not okay, what's okay towards guns is very important. The importance of knowledge. It's just good information for children to have about the dangers of handling guns, said Principal Adele Lancaster, who volunteered for the training along with their teachers at Ocean Beach Elementary. It will also help children learn to cope with better problems and work through ways of settling disputes peacefully. Now, kids don't always think things through the clearest, as some mature adults don't either. Now, they always react very emotionally at first, and sometimes when they have a gun within arm's reach, they don't necessarily think about its consequences, especially when they're being bullied or they want to pick on someone. It could be a very endangering situation. A lot of school shootings have happened recently in these past few years, and across the board, from small kids to teenagers who also can get into things like drugs and alcohol and impair their judgment. Across the board, um, it is a good learning tool that they have some sort of teaching, whether it be from parents to kid or from teachers to kids, in different programs, that they learn that guns are never for anger, for aggression, for any emotions that they are having, and they need to be able to work out their feelings through communication with others. Another thing that's really important is that parents keep guns away from children. Now, it's okay to teach them about how to handle guns and how to safely operate a gun. I think that's very appreciated for many people because it learns the respect um, that should be taken towards guns. According to the Youth Handgun Safety Act Notice 6, the misuse of handgun is a leading contributor to juvenile violence and fatalities. And safely storing and securing firearms away from children will help prevent the unlawful possession of handguns by juveniles, stop accidents, and save lives. Now, without going to say, it's already in law that people who own guns and have children coexisting should have some form of barrier between the two so that consequences don't happen to where the tragic deaths add up in the statistics. So, securing guns away safely and only bringing them out when kids realize that they're not a toy, that they should be respected and handled carefully, should they ever be brought out around them. Now, repetition of learning. Kids in programs uh, or just between parent and child need to be repeated, just as like in math, science, and English, on how to go over the steps, the protocols of whatever they are learning. So when learning about guns, they need to be repeated on how you should safely hold a gun, um, what safety features are on a gun, what safety involves towards others when there's a gun present, regarding the dangers of firearms, and instructed the children not to touch guns and tell an adult immediately if they ever found one. Unfortunately, this instructional approach failed to decrease the child's gunplay behavior. Now, teaching someone one thing one time is not going to stick in their brains. Repetitive learning and teaching, just as in school, as we do all the time, where we have to take a test or we have to take a quiz, it's the same thing. It's that repetition of learning that will stick in kids' heads. Kids, teens, adults, everyone across the board. It'll stick more if it's repeated. A BST program consisting of instruction, modeling, rehearsal, and praise or corrective feedback was used to train the children not to touch the firearm, leave the room, and tell no at all. Now, the repetition is very important, but so is all the other steps, such as the securing the guns and initial learning. So, when being taught about guns, or when you're starting to teach a kid about guns, areas to always be addressed when guns are around children are: one, the children's curiosity, showing that they should stop and think before they do anything. Think about safety and social protocols and how they should behave when others are around, um, such as like just because it's cool, they shouldn't do it too. Parental controls, such as safety locks and secure gun safes that the kids don't know the combinations to. And repetition of the information learned is very important. Now, a lot of people think that guns shouldn't be here, but it is in our Second Amendment right that we are able to own guns and possess guns. But they should be a boundary between kids and guns, respectively. Now, people that don't educate their kids about guns and uh, just don't have, they leave the guns loaded around the house and out in the open for them to touch, that is not okay. They should be aware of how to use the guns and how to safely have them. A lot of people think that guns are just an object to be used in violence, and that teaching kids about guns is not going to help this situation even more. But I counter that by saying I think it would help the statistics. It would help the statistics of kids dying from guns every year go down, because they are learning that it's not a toy, that it's not something to play with, and that it needs to be respected and handled correctly. Otherwise, very tragic things, will happen to them and those who love them if they misuse it. Well, I hope you liked my argument. I'm sorry that presentation was a little weird. I wasn't able to get my video recorder to have the slideshow all the way up, but I hope you enjoyed. Here is my references and my photo references that are in the video. I hope you guys like my argument. Thank you.